City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Now, to guide us through this, we have a special guest, Dr. Amselm Onuorah. Dr. Amselm Onuorah is spokesperson of the Cultural Unity Forum, major stakeholders in Anambra state politics. Dr. Onuorah is a motivated team leader, independent scholar, political critic, and an entrepreneur. He's enthusiastic about African development, especially in education, gender studies for women, and effect of brain drain through legal and illegal migration of Africans. And he has written a lot about these subjects. He holds 2 doctorate degrees in philosophy, a master's degree in African philosophy from Anambra University, Awka, 2 bachelor's degrees of arts in philosophy from Urban University of Rome, and another one from the Imo State University, Owerri. Dr. Onuorah Amselm majors in African philosophy and jurisprudence. He is one of the young emerging voices in contemporary African studies. He is also a member of different academic and business organizations, including the Cultural Unity Forum, and he has written many papers in the field of African political philosophy. In 2017, he convened the first Pan-African Conference in Onitsha, Anambra State, which had in attendance the likes of Professor P.L.O. Lumumba of Kenya, representatives of former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, and heads of European Union Commission, the ECOWAS Parliament, and state government officials. In 2019, Dr. Amselm Onuorah contested for the position of Federal House of Representatives, Anambra East and West Federal Constituency, becoming the youngest person to aspire to that position in the history of the state. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Anchor Media and Technologies Nigeria Limited, owners of Book Publishers Africa. Through Anchor Book Club Foundation Africa, Dr. Amselm Onuorah has been supporting hundreds of school children across Africa with his Tuition Assistance Project, TAP, providing scholarship, textbooks, sandals, and school bags for children of less privileged background. He is also the spokesperson for Cultural Unity Forum, a political pressure group that advocates for responsible citizenship and accountability from elected political office holders. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700 1051 1051. You can also leave comments on WhatsApp 090 991 64403, and also on social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom and Facebook. Dr. Amselm Onuorah, thank you very much for joining us. Well, looks like our guest is running late there. Dr. Onuorah, are you there? Are you with me yet? Okay, if Dr. Amselm Onuorah is not there with us yet, hello? Hello? Okay, Dr. Amselm Onuorah is not yet here yet. I've not seen him responding to my request. He's joining us from Awka, where he has been observing the election as a major stakeholder, but we expect that he will join us shortly. But before he does so, just a little background. The Anambra gubernatorial election took place on Saturday, November 6, 2021. Ahead of that election, there was great apprehension, uncertainty, fears about whether or not the election would take place. And the major concern was about security and also voter turnout, because ahead of that election, there have been many incidents in terms of security breaches, not just in Anambra State, but in the whole of the Southeast. And indeed, just shortly before the election, there was a report that the Indigenous Peoples Organization of Biafra, IPOB, had said that there will be a sit-at-home order between November 5 and November 10, which would then, of course, fall within the range of the election. But both the state government and the federal government and the relevant agencies, including the Office of the National Security Advisor and the Office of the Inspector General of Police, insisted that the election will go ahead. The president had given express orders that whoever tried to disrupt that election will be met with the full weight of the Nigerian state. Well, as it happened, just before the election, Emma Powerful, spokesperson of the Indigenous Peoples Organization of Biafra, came up with a statement in which it said the cease-at-home order that had been imposed by IPOB had been put off. And we had a situation in which IPOB itself was now encouraging the people of Anambra State to go out en masse and take part in the election, and the people should exercise their right to vote and choose the next governor of Anambra State. That election took place, as it were, eventually. Voter turnout was low, about between 10% and 15% in many of the polling areas. But there was election in 21 local government areas in over 5,000 polling units, and 18 candidates of various political parties were involved. The police deployed over 34,000 policemen, 5 DIGs, 38 police commissioners, and also 3 helicopters. The civil defense deployed over 20,000 men. The DSS was on the ground, and other security agencies, including CSOs, civil society organizations, who were there to observe the election. But as it happened, there were glitches. Voting materials did not arrive on time, so the voting time had to be extended. But at the end of the day, the voting took place, and there was an issue with Ihiala local government, which is a border community between Anambra and Imo State. And in Ihiala local government, Professor Florence Obi, the returning officer for the state, Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar, said that there will be a supplementary election in Ihiala local government. And that took place on Tuesday this week, which was November 11. And after that election, November 6, November 7, November 8, November 9, I guess, the election took place in Ihiala local government with about 140,000 voters. But at the end of the day, when everything was collated, INEC found that the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, former governor of the Central Bank, former economic advisor, chief economic advisor to the president of Nigeria, former head of national planning of Nigeria, former professor of economics at the University of Nigeria Nsukka, had emerged winner with a very comfortable margin between him and the runner-up, Valentine Ozigbo, candidate of the People's Democratic Party. And coming third was Senator Andy Uba, candidate of the All Progressives Congress. And yesterday, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo was given the certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission. There were so many other episodes, but what I've given is a summary of what happened in Anambra State. So our worst fears were not confirmed. The election took place. The people of Anambra, in the Anambra, as they are called, got the opportunity to speak, and they've made their choice. But then, of course, what remains is the analysis, the way forward, and what all of this means for Ndi Anambra, for Nigerian politics and democracy, and also for the rest of us in Nigeria in terms of lessons learned, lessons unlearned. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll find out whether Dr. Amselm Onuorah, spokesperson of the Kwichiri Unity Forum, has joined us. And the program will continue. We'll be right back.
I can never ever tell. I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. Praise in the city
Is back. Praise in the City 2021. Coming soon. So, what are your expectations by the end of this year?
Oga, me now waiting big pass me I want to do now.
Uncle, excuse me.
me now. See, if you now like, shout and speak Chinese, I no one know. Me, I dey expect something huge this year.
Okay.
Okay, your voice and your face don't dey change. Hope all is well.
Don't make me laugh.
Welcome back to City Talks with Reuben Abati here on City 1051 FM. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700 1051 1051. You can leave comments on WhatsApp 09091 64403 and also on social media at City 1051 on Zoom and Facebook. Looks like we now have Dr. Amselm Onuorah with us, spokesperson of the Kwechiri Unity Forum, a major stakeholder group in Anambra politics. Dr. Onuorah, thank you for joining us. Hello, Dr. Onuorah. If you are hearing me, could you please unmute your laptop? Hello?
Stop calling me.
Hello? Hello, Dr. Onuorah? Hello? Okay, I'll throw the lines open. When eventually he's able to join us, we would, bring him on board. But if you have any comments and you are interested in the subject, please go ahead. Our lines are open. You can make calls and make comments. And then, of course, all of us can discuss this subject together.
Hello, Dr. Reuben, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Dr. Onuorah, you kept me waiting. Anyway, let's do this program. Very quickly, what are the lessons that you think we can learn from this Anambra Governorship Election 2021? What's your take? Hello? Hello,
Dr. Reuben, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. I just asked you a question. Yes.
Please come again. I can't really understand, but I've been following you from the beginning. I think they didn't unmute me from your own end. But I heard the background introduction, so we can go ahead.
Okay. Maybe some technical problem there. I just wanted your take on the Anambra Governorship Election 2021 after that my lengthy introduction. What do you think are the lessons that we have learned? And what's your assessment of how the election was managed?
Okay, thank you. And like you said, you've given a very comprehensive background to the election, both the pre-election and the election day itself. First and foremost, we are glad that the election came, and as of today, we can say it's gone. We are now facing governance itself. But like you say, what are the lessons? And from what the background you gave, there was some that fear of whether the election was going to hold or not from the members of the indigenous people of Biafra, agitating for their own sovereignty, saying that the election was not going to hold. And few hours before the election, they gave a press release saying that the election can go on. But what we saw again is that we saw people coming out to vote. The challenge they experienced in the election was from the umpires, the INEC BMAS machine that was problematic in most of the polling units. But people came out to vote against the fear that many persons were having, that people are not going to come out to vote. But like we always have, there was a low turnout of voters if you compare to the number of registered voters in Anambra, and even the last governorship election we had, the number of voters that came out. So this one, the number, just about 10% of the registered voters came out to vote. And you could say that because of the fear of that warning first. But what again we saw is that we saw people who are committed. Most of the places that the machines were not working, we saw people waiting patiently to vote, to cast their vote. Part of the things is that, yes, people want to elect those that will govern them. People want to elect those that will be in the political offices. So the lessons for us as Anambra is that yes, you can't continue sitting on the fence. At a time, we have to come out and say, okay, this is what we want. We want to select our leaders, and we saw that happen during the last election, irrespective of what might have transpired. And I can say that seems to be one of the most peaceful elections we've had in Anambra, irrespective of the by-election that happened, like you mentioned, in the local government. But that last election was so peaceful, though there was a low turnout, but the people that came out, they contented themselves. Most of the places you went, you saw people waiting patiently on the queue to cast their vote. So you can remove some pocket of violence in some areas, but that election was very peaceful to a greater percentage.
Well, but will you say that the election was peaceful because of the security presence? Because the security presence, both on land and on air, was quite massive.
Yes, anyway, and then that is another issue, whether that was actually necessary, because if you see the number of police presence or security presence in Anambra, you would think we are going for war, not election. But I think that is also, the presence of security also brings insecurity in that sense. Some persons that didn't come out is because they felt that something is going to happen. But the presence of security men, yes, we could say that helped the atmosphere for those that came out. But some persons also, there are people who were afraid that no, this is like it's not Anambra, and Anambra is heart of Southeast, and by extension, very important state in Nigeria. So if Anambra sneezes, every other state catches cold. So many persons were apprehensive of what is going to happen on the day of elections. We saw the persons traveling out of Anambra state before the election day. So the security personnel, yes, they were much, and like I said, that was an issue for another day, whether that was actually necessary in the first place with what we have, sending almost 4,000 police officers in one small state for election. It also has its own negative aspect when you analyze it. That's it. Why do we not such things, such policemen, such security officers to conduct just a governorship election in a state? So when we conduct a nationwide election, you can imagine whether we go and return our officers in a mission to come and conduct an election for us in Nigeria. So yes, that contributed, but also it has its own negative impact for me.
When you say that it has its negative impact, wouldn't you also say that perhaps the end justifies the means? The Nigerian government wanted that election to take place. The state government also did not want a declaration of emergency. And then you also had IPOB, they're supporting the election. Will you say that in the end, justifies the means?
No, the end does not justify the means in this. I think there was a better options they would have followed prior to event before the election day. You don't wait for things to spoil before you start curing it. So it's because of a failure of a system that cumulated to that event you saw in Anambra, the number of security persons that came to monitor that election. If things were done properly, we wouldn't have such things. That's what I said, that there has its own negative impact. Yes, that was the situation. Federal government, they wanted the election to hold, to make a statement. The state government didn't want a state of emergency to be declared, so they have to deploy all that security apparatus to conduct just election. And you could imagine the financial implication, both in the federal and the state government. That's what we are looking at it. Yes, it brought about a good, peaceful election. But some persons were inside. They didn't want to get into trouble with the security personnel or with the IPOB or whatever. But if that was handled before the election, I don't think that would have been necessary to send all those security apparatus. But at the end, like I said, we had a peaceful election.
Well, you are, spokesperson of a stakeholder group called the Kwechiri Unity Forum, and it was your group that was the first, in collaboration with Arise Television, to organize a debate for the candidates. You had specific demands, you had specific expectations. 5 candidates took part in the debate, that you organized at the Dora Akunyili Women Development Center. Would you say that your expectations have been met, or you still think that the candidate of the APGA or APUGA, as I kept hearing in Anambra, would meet those expectations?
Okay, first, yes, our demands are ongoing. Is about governance. It's not necessarily about the election. What we demand is good governance. That means what comes after election. The election has been held, and the candidate has emerged in the person of Professor Charles Soludo of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. And as a Kwechiri member, what we now ask him is to look into our demand and see how we provide good governance for the people. So what we are looking at now is what next. Now we have a governor. If we start talking about elections, we should be talking about the governance. And part of the governance is what we are demanding, that he should conduct local government elections as soon as possible. That's part of the things we demand as a Kwechiri forum. We also talk about infrastructure. You should look into infrastructure, especially roads. We should talk about healthcare. These are things that has to do with governance, not necessarily election day. We had a debate, like you said, but to people to come and tell in the Anambra what they did to do for them. And yes, you said, candidate participated, and the Anambra people have made a choice. And we are now presenting the manifesto, our demand to the candidate who happens, because of course, at the end of it, it's only one person that is going to occupy the seat at a particular point. And today, by special grace of God and by the will of the people, is Professor Charles Soludo. And we are now asking him that our eyes is on him. We should look at the ball and make sure that what he has promised in the Anambra that made them vote for him, which include good governance, infrastructure, healthcare services, security of life and properties, that is we are able to implement them and bring them to bear. These are our demands. So our demand is what happens after election. And from the day he was declared winner, we are now looking up to him to see if he doesn't meet, we start calling on him. But we hope he has promised he's going to look into our own demands.
Well, Dr. Amselm Onuorah, yes, I like that phrase. What happens after the elections? You are looking forward to governance, but it looks like some other stakeholders are looking forward to a contest, another contest, now in the law courts. Everyone will seem to have congratulated Professor Soludo, but the candidate of the APC, the All Progressives Congress, insists that no, he rejects the outcome of the process and that he will go to court. So it looks like it's not over yet. What do you think?
Okay, first, I think he is making a...
Hello? Hello? We seem to have lost connection there. Dr. Amselm Onuorah, are you still with us? Okay, while we're waiting for Dr. Amselm Onuorah to re-establish connection with the studio here in Lagos, maybe we'll take calls and other comments. So if you have, if you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700 1051 1051, and you can also leave comments on WhatsApp 09099164003. Dr. Onuorah, are you back there? Well, okay, let's see if we can get some comments. I have on the screen here someone saying the Anambra election was so peaceful that I regard it as an anticlimax of the high level of fear and expectations given the level of apprehension that preceded the election. Well, that's a comment, not a question. And then here we also have a comment from Adegboyega Adedeji, who says, good afternoon to you and our guests. In as much as I want to congratulate Professor Charles Soludo, that's how he puts it, for having the largest number of votes, I think we as a nation still have not experienced what true democracy and democratic process entails. This idea of militarization of election is another way of denying the rights of the people in an election, indirectly paving way for malpractices. Well, that's from Adeboyega Adedeji, a comment via WhatsApp. Looks like we have a caller on the line. Please go ahead, your name, your comment, and please keep it brief. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Or is it? Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Reuben, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
And good afternoon to your guests.
Yes, thank you. Please go ahead.
Mr. Darlington speaking.
Okay, Darlington.
Now, in my own thinking, even though this is democracy and a winner emerged, I was thinking that the number should have been higher than this, so that the people of Anambra can say, yes, we came out en masse.
Hello, Dr. Reuben, can
But
you hear me?
for the
Okay,
security
just a moment.
presence
Just a
of-
moment. I can hear you, Dr. Amselm Onuorah, but we're taking a call from someone. Please stay online. It's very
So-
important.
What I'm now saying is that even though from what we gathered and from what was going on before the election, some people actually wanted to hijack ABGA from Anambra people, but it didn't work. My own fear now is their plan B, because we have seen it happen in Imo State, where number 4 became number 1. And of course, you can see the aftermath of that brigandage. They should not do that in Anambra. Maybe by going to open all the books on the tenure of Soludo at the Central Bank. I don't want a situation where somebody will now go and remember what was not there before. All the while he was a free person. Nobody remembered it though. Now that he's a governor, somebody will start digging up debt. And then from there, issues will arise. We have proved that we are peaceful people. It should remain like that too. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, Dr. Amselm Onuorah is back with us. The point raised by that caller is also the same point that has been raised on the screen by Dr. Abiodun Adeniyi. He says, I just wish we can be spared of another Supreme Court experience. So this is part of the apprehension that perhaps after the election, you could have a situation like that of Imo State. And that was the question I asked you, Dr. Amselm, before the line, there was a disconnection. Would you like to comment on this further?
Yes. Like I was saying, I said that if someone feels that there's something that happened in the election that they didn't feel comfortable, I think legally the right thing to do is to approach a court to seek redress. I'm not the candidate of APC advisor, so I'm not in a position to advise him personally what to do. But like people are saying, we just hope that the court will sustain the voice and the desire of the masses, because like I said, I think Anambra people have spoken, and for me it was very clear. So we don't want a repeat of what happened in Imo State, but I'm not a lawyer anyway. But I also believe that the candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Professor Charles Soludo, will also have his own legal team, and he was returned by INEC, who is the official umpire of the elections. So if there's something that someone feels, instead of hooking up to violence, I think it's better the person approaches a court. But whether that was necessary is another question from the outcome of the election. What we saw was it was really necessary that someone seeks court interpretation of the people's action. That is also another decision where another thing we really may have to look into. But I don't personally have a problem that he has gone to court. If he feels that something was wrong from the outcome of the election, it's better than maybe the other way, which is violence. So he has taken a gentleman's way, But we hope that what happened in Imo State may not repeat itself in Anambra.
Okay, Dr. Amselm, before we take calls, one major observation about this just concluded election in Anambra was the case of the women of Ebenebe in Oka North, who refused to be bribed. The governor, Willie Obiano, has already praised them and has singled out one of them for recognition, giving her 1 million naira. Some people say no, this should not be about money, that the woman should probably have been given an award or whatever, where people have different opinions about different things. But isn't it curious that it's the women who go out to vote every election we hold in Nigeria? But in terms of representation, they are hardly ever present. 18 gubernatorial candidates in Anambra, the same state that produced the first female governor, in the person of Dame Virgie Etiaba, whose son was even part of this process. And yet, you won't find any woman coming forward. Why is that the case? What do we do to make women representation, more real, if I may use that phrase, in terms of gender representation, equity, and fairness in the electoral process?
Yes, Dr. Reuben is really a sad one. That if you look at the number of persons that came out, like I say, you noted, the greater percentage of persons that voted in even the previous and this current election were all women. The percentage was much compared to that of male. But you see, that's the question we keep on asking ourselves. Why is it that they don't participate in the party politics? Because that's where it begins. They need to be active in the party politics. They need to register to political parties, vie for a position so that they can be given opportunity. You can't contest as a single individual today. So you need to first register as a political party. So it's part of the things also we do in Kwechiri to encourage women to go into active politics. First, beginning by registering and becoming a party member, because that's where it begins. And like you said, Anambra, yes, was the first state that produced a female governor in Anambra State. And after that, we have had a prominent women in Nigeria, but none has been able to push the political frontier very strongly in terms of contesting for governorship and winning for governorship position. But in the Senate, I think Anambra is also doing good in that. We have a female senator now, I think 2 of them, that of North and Central. But in terms of taking like governorship, is something that women really need to be encouraged to participate actively. And again, the other issue you pointed out of the woman from Benebe, yes, that was just a governor's decision. It was good to encourage the woman, but more importantly, I encourage the governor-elect to please attend to the need of the people of Benebe. Let that rejection of that money by that woman translate into infrastructural development for the community. Yes, 1 million naira is a big amount of money. Award is, yes, is good, but more importantly, that the governor extends infrastructural development to that community. At least that would be more important than every other thing they may give to the woman personally. That's what I would say.
Okay, we'll throw the lines open again. In response to what you have said, I have just hold on, please. I have a Fuluka Ademokun here saying that female representation is very important for the purposes of representative democracy, and that women are also members of political parties, and so they must be treated fairly. But what we have is a situation where men are leading and taking decisions, and she would like to see more women in the State Executive Council, as Professor Charles Soludo begins to assume office with his transition committee, and then the swearing in, hopefully, in March 2022. Okay, the caller on the line, please go ahead. Dr. Amselm is listening.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's David from Songo. I want to say that I want to congratulate the Anambra for coming out to vote. Then number 2, I think it's an eye opener for every Nigerian to know that We don't need to begin to look at vote buying. With that, what that single woman has done, it is in fact, it has given us everyone joy that we shouldn't put our hope on anybody. Just vote buying is not the issue. And we can do away with vote buying. So I want to appeal to Nigerians, especially 2023. We should go with all these progress, especially those who want to come and destabilize our political system. And when we do that, we discover that Nigeria will be better for it. That is number 2. Number 3, I want to say that the governor should try as much as possible, just like what our brother said, infrastructure. He should do something for the state so that the state will not forget, just like Singapore. Make sure that it makes Anambra become like Singapore, so everyone will know that at least somebody has done something better. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Amselm, I'm sure you had a caller talking about,
Yes.
vote buying, how we should do away with it, and how the major task for the next governor of Anambra State should be infrastructure development, an area in which, indeed, not just the people of Anambra need help, but all Nigerians across the country. Infrastructure development, capital development being a major challenge, even if Anambra State is one of those leading 5 states in Nigeria in terms of greater emphasis on capital development and fiscal responsibility. Over to you.
Yes, I agree with the caller that said that that woman's action could be an introduction to rejection of vote by totality in Anambra State. And I think that woman made a statement. She made a very strong statement by rejecting that fund. No matter how much it is, she rejected it, and today it has become a point of discussion. But like I said, for the governor-elect, let it translate into infrastructural development. Yes, Soludo's introduction into the governorship seat of Southeast Nigeria is a big plus. He has a very big CV, has a wealth of experience. But how the old woman in Ebenebe, we understand it, is that there is a infrastructural development in Ebenebe. That the woman in Ebenebe can go to hospital and get free medical care. That the woman can take whatever farm produce he has produced to the market without being manhandling and mistreating the person. That is the reality we are expecting. Now the election is over, and we call on Party A, Party B to join hands in bringing about good governance. And there's a lot facing the governor-elect because he has a big pedigree, and every eyes is on him now. So we beg him that as soon as he's sworn in as the governor, he should face the job. Thank God we think he's not someone that will learn on the job. But there's enormous task ahead of him, and we beg him to translate whatever grammar, whatever manifesto he has into a reality by bringing infrastructural development and also building institutions, building strong institutions. Many of our institutions in Nigeria, across several other states, are failing. So we want him also to look into building institutions that will stand the test of time. So the end point of that woman's action is that that woman wants someone he votes that will bring about development. And we wouldn't want the incoming governor to disappoint that woman's action.
Okay, we'll take more calls. Looks like there's another caller out there. Hello?
Very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. My name is Prince Wyatt, calling from Amuodofe. You see, the solution before the election, we knew him very well. That is why his name is still there. As the government elect now, what we don't expect from him is to go down and do the work, the bidding of Anambra. And nothing more, no more, no less. That was. And the man wants to go to the state of the court. I don't know. It scored 43,000 The man who second takes 53,000. And man that won the election pay about 100 plus thousand. If I was him, I would say congratulations to the winner. And we go for another time. What the court is just as it's allowed. But for me, I don't think the court can overturn this. You know, the turn is very just too small. When more than 2 million register, and we can only witness about 253,000 that voted. Nothing is bad. It's because we were trekking here and there before the election. And finally, I want to commend Mr. President. I want to commend the Nigeria police, all the security. I want to commend them. And the man that has just spoken now is one of those who made it before everything cooled down. So I want to say kudos to his group. That's what I will say this afternoon. My name still remains Prince Wire from Amuodo.
Well, thank you very much. Well, quickly, Dr. Amselm, do you have something to say to that? The gentleman, in addition to some of the other issues you yourself addressed, also commended President Muhammadu Buhari. And I noticed that that has been a very major refrain in the reactions from the winner to the governor to the chairman of APGA and other stakeholders.
Yes, first, like the last caller said, President Muhammad Buhari needs a commendation first as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. You can see immediately after the election, he congratulated the Professor Charles Soludo, and yes, as the president, will give him overall credit for free and fair elections, because we know the situation in most African countries. If the president wanted otherwise, probably may want to use his powers towards the actions. But I think his body language was for free and fair elections, and we see that immediately congratulating the APGA candidate in respect of the fact that it's not his own party man that won. So we congratulate him for that. I think he's setting an example, and we'll see a lot of that in a few other states where his party men lost the election and immediately congratulated the candidate that won the election. So President Muhammad Buhari is setting that example. But apart from that, we will also want him to look into the crisis that is rocking Nigeria. And like we discussed at the beginning, the number of policemen that came for that election in Anambra State. If dialogue we have followed at the beginning of turnout for the event, I don't think we needed that to waste. Yes, I call it waste. That resources to push that number of security personnel just for one state election. And at the end of it, you saw what happened. So you can imagine when we are doing a presidential election. So I think President Muhammad Buhari, apart from the fact that's giving body language and maybe allowing INEC to be unbiased umpire, he needs also to go into dialogue with these agitations that is going on, especially this one that is coming up in the Southeast. Because no matter how you see, Southeast is a heart of Nigeria. So we congratulate and thank him for that. But more importantly, the eyes is now on the governor-elect for the ball.
We still have more callers on the line. Can we take the next call?
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to your distinguished guest. This will be Emmanuel Iheme, and I'm calling you from Ikorodu in Lagos.
Please
why do you need to comment the president? We don't need to comment the president. If we are not obliged to comment the president, but this is the reason why we are backward. We are backward because.
Hello, Emmanuel. Yeah. Please, could you turn down the volume of your radio? We're having difficulties hearing you.
Is it better now?
Just turn down the volume of your radio and go ahead.
I've done that, Doctor.
Okay, please.
We don't need to comment President Muhammadu Buhari because the elections are supposed to be free and fair in the first place. So he don't need to interfere in an election. These are the reasons why Africa is still backward. When the thing is supposed to be done the right way, we need to comment people. We elect the president to build infrastructure. If he builds it, he don't give us commendation from anybody. Let us keep that aside. Some people say this election should not be like the Indian state. Yes, there's no way to be like that because the election was free and fair. The people rejected bribes and the police unit. You understand? We saw the people and they were from the party that are really the ruling party. So So it is very clear. What to know.
Well, Dr. Amselm, I'm sure you heard him. He's saying we don't need to commend the president. And I know that there are many Nigerians who have that kind of who hold that kind of position. They say that when government officials do what they've been elected to do, there's no point commending them. But that here in Nigeria, even when a public official digs a borehole, we will take out newspaper adverts and start saying this man has done well. That the elections ordinarily are supposed to be free and fair, and that cannot constitute an achievement. What do you say to that?
Yes, to a certain extent, I agree with the last caller that called, but human nature, yes, needs a commendation. When someone, even when you do what you're supposed to do, you need a commendation so that when you do the ones you're not supposed to do, people can really condemn you. So, yes, it's part of the president's duty to allow for free and fair. And that's what we are saying. From our own judgment, he has allowed that. So we need to say, yes, congratulations. You have exercised part of your responsibility as the Chief Security Officer of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we are saying, yes, part of your job is to allow a free and fair election. But we also have seen in most places where presidents of some countries or maybe people in power doesn't allow something to go against their own party men or which. So he has done something he ought to do, and we are saying, yes, this one, you did it right. Simply, that's the language we are saying. And not that we needed to do extra thing. He has congratulated the governorship elect, and that's part of the things he's supposed to do. And we say, yes, this one is right. You've done it right. So it's not, it's something we should do. When our leaders do right, we should also be able to point that out so that when they do bad, we should also condemn them for that. So President Muhammad Buhari needs a commendation because he has done the right thing he was supposed to do. So that is the point. So anybody that people have right to disagree with that, but I think if someone does something that is right, that person needs a commendation. And in this case, he has done what we expect to do. Some other persons may disagree over that, but I don't disagree. Anybody who thanks President Buhari for the outcome of Anambra State election has done well, because we saw the permutation, the agitation, the political movement, whatever that happened before the election. But at the end of it, we saw the outcome. So, and he accepted it by congratulating the candidate of APUGA. It means he has accepted the result. So I think he needs a commendation. People may have their own different view. Yes, many things are not going right in Nigeria and some other places. Politicians, they abuse the office, they do whatever they want to do, but there are still pockets of politicians that do something that is right. And when they do that, we should thank them to stand them out among the bad ones. That is the essence of the thank you.
Okay, looks like we have still another caller on the line. We'll take that call. Yes, hello.
Doctor.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us as we examine the Anambra Governorship Election 2021.
I'm with you from beginning. I just want to talk about the last caller that say presidents will not be commended. As other elections that are having to do in Nigeria start from Anambra State. We have a president there where he is the mandate of Obi. So Anambra, when somebody now in power, they conducted election, it was rigged then. We now have another one. I'm so neutral. Even though the APC can they go to court now, it's on his own. Mr. President does not have about him. So your guest in the studio, I really commend him. Okay, now before the election, the person was telling Anambra, no, our people come gather together, talk to them, to appeal to them. They now come down. Are they not to be praised? So when somebody needs to be praised, you have to praise him. When somebody does wrong, you have to say, okay, he does something wrong. So that is it. The way your guest is speaking this afternoon, in fact, he really melted down my throat. That's why I'm greeting you. God bless you.
Hello, yes, Dr. Onuorah. Well, this gentleman is more or less agreeing with you. Do you have anything to say in addition?
Yes, I think, like I said, if someone does something that is right, you should thank the person. And in this case, we are judging from our own judgment. President Muhammad Buhari has shown that he's an unbiased person, congratulating the candidate of APGA who won Anambra State election against his own party man. I think you said, okay, thank you. This is a good example we should follow. It means you're a father to every person that contested the election. That's simply what it means. So he agreed with me, and I think that's what every right-thinking person should do. We're not saying that he is the best or whatever, but the ones he has done right, we should thank him. So that is the point. It's natural. Human nature demands condemnation and praise. Whenever the right one is done, you congratulate and thank the person. When the person do something that is right or does something that is bad, then you condemn the person or you correct the person. Let me not use the word condemn. You correct the person. So I think the last caller is also in the right direction.
Okay, one more call from our listeners, and then we begin to wind down. Who is on the line now?
Yeah, Dr. Reuben, it's Emmanuel from Ikorodu again. I need to respond to the caller who responded to me. Does it mean that the president was elected to do the wrong thing? It's a question I'm posing to him. That's one. Secondly, does it mean that the president is elect that is supposed to conduct a national standard meeting for everybody to choose what they want? That's number two. And number three, does it mean that something has been done previously wrong? When the thing is done right, automatically it becomes an issue that we need to come there to begin to commend people that we have elected for the sole purpose of standing right. Listen, some of these things doesn't hold water. And from the way he was sounding, it sounded like an elderly man. And I would expect that he would stand at the meeting and not begin to join issues with me. For instance, the president has been borrowing now. Is he commending the president for borrowing money? Is he commending the president for rechanting people? People, I don't know, some of these things don't hold water. Mr. President Buhari has no right to interfere in any election. Neither does any other president after him have any right to interfere in election. Good afternoon.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel from Ikorodu, but I don't want us to open up a controversy on that issue. We already have two views, and we just leave it at that with your right of reply. And I don't hope that the other party will call again to say he too wants to respond. Let's take just one more caller who is on the line.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Dr. Abati, good afternoon. Please restrain people from calling more than once.
You said what?
Please stop people from calling more than once. Once they've called, let others to call now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyway, I learned a few things from Anambra. One, INEC has not covered itself in glory at all. They keep giving reasons for doubt. The optics on INEC is not good enough. They should improve. By all means, improve. Secondly, call it commendation, call it admittance, whatever. We admit that this man has shown political maturity. Over the years, he has shown that he is indifferent. He may not be commended for that, but at least in Bayelsa, he's passed a law, even a day to the swearing in. Same applies in Zamfara, and now here. So he only is fair. Let me not put it that way. Unlike what happened in 2014, you know what I'm saying, in Ekiti State, a sitting governor, Fayemi, was trounced by a challenger, Fayose of PDP, 16-0. All local government, Fayose won. Who does that? For that one aside. Lastly, I congratulate Professor Ludo. It's someone I like personally. But then, I was discussing with a few friends, not just after the election, and they said something instructive, and I'll say it. They said, well, they defeated also, both of them, one on APC, one on PDP, and they said that they were trashed. They admitted that they were trashed in Anambra State. For them, if they don't give the ticket, the bigger ticket, to the party or to the people from Southeast in 2023, nobody should go to court. As for Soludo, Uba can go to court. Nobody should cry more than they believe. If he feels there's an infraction, let him go to court. George Bush, when he was contesting year 2000, somebody raised it in the primaries of the Republican of an infraction he committed in 1976 as a young man. So anything, if Soludo has committed anything as central bank governor, Uba has the right to go out there and challenge anything. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, your position that Senator Anduba has the right to go out there and challenge anything, yes, it's the same position expressed by our guest, Dr. Amselm Onuorah. But some people had also said, well, the chairman of the APC, Anambra chapter, had already congratulated Professor Soludo Kulibi that Senator Anduba is on his own, is holding a position different from that of his party at the local level. Well, I have here on the screen Professor Kemi Rotimi, who says that there is no basis to compare governorship in Imo with the case of Anambra. He said he had issues with the spread of victory. Soludo won overwhelmingly in the various local governments in terms of spread. And then there are other messages on the screen. But very quickly, we will need to wrap this up. Maybe we'll just take one more comment, and then Dr. Amselm Onuorah will respond. And that will be it for today's edition of City Talks with Reuben Abati. Who is on the line? Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Yes, very briefly, we're about to just wrap it all up.
Yes, Dr. Reuben, good afternoon once again.
Yes.
Mr. Darlington, please, I want to put the record straight about...
Are you calling a second time?
Yes.
People have been complaining that people should just call once. How can some people call twice, thrice? But go ahead.
This is the first time I'm doing so, but it is expedient, please. You said somebody want to contest the election. But let me put the record straight. Yesterday, Anduba said he never made such a statement and is not going to contest the election. The people doing this are Joe Igbokwe's group. The same Joe Igbokwe. He said that they are going to challenge the election. And you know it's from the APC. So if any problem comes up, Anambra people should hold Joe Igbokwe responsible. I don't know his interest. The man who contested the election said he's not interested in challenging it at the court. So I don't know why he's going about to making noise that he's going to do this, he's going to do that. It's yesterday's paper. He's there. So APC should call him to order in case something happens there. On congratulating the president, please, our democracy does not revolve around one man. It is the INEC that should be congratulated if anything good came out of that election. It is INEC. Those who say we should congratulate him, they should not tell me why I should congratulate him for what happened in Imo State, where number 4 became number 1. Why can't you congratulate him there? Since you want to congratulate him for everything, the Nigeria that is like this, we should congratulate him too. The insurgent that is going on in the north, we should congratulate him too. Not just you select one part. All the things he promised that you not fulfill, we should congratulate him too. That is how congratulations should go down. The international community should be the one that we should give credit to because they threaten them. That if anybody disrupt that election in Anambra, they will never go to their country again. And you and I know that US and UK are their second home. So they wouldn't want any visa ban. They are the ones that made our democracy to be working. Each time they threatened, they did it in Edo State. They've done it in Anambra, and you saw the turnout. So let nobody tell me that anybody is interested in deepening our democracy. They are not interested. It is the international community that is helping us here now. Good afternoon.
Well, thank you very much. I think at this point we will not be able to take more calls or comments. We just go back to Dr. Amselm Onuorah for his reaction to some of the statements that have been made in the last few minutes. And then after that, we would close the program for today. Dr. Amselm Onuorah, over to you, quickly. Hello, are you still there? Well, he seems to have left. Maybe the moment we went beyond, the time limit. But if you're still listening to us, thank you very much, Dr. Amselm Onuorah, for taking time out to discuss the Anambra Governorship Election 2021 with us. And we thank you also, all of you who called in and those who reach out to us on Zoom, WhatsApp, and Facebook. But the conversation does not end here. You can still reach out to me on my social media account at Abati1990 on Instagram and at City1051 on all social media platforms. For those of you who tuned in late, there's no need to worry. You can visit YouTube page City 1051 to watch the entire show. And when you do so, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave comments. And don't forget to tune in next week at noon for another exciting edition of City Talks.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.